Hello all. Hello dear friends. I hope everyone is hanging in there. We are officially to the last week of class. Isn't that crazy? How time has flown by. I remember walking in during the first week and now we're on our last week. Just amazing. And I hope everyone is hanging in there during quarantine and everything else. I hope everyone's doing alright. Hang in there. Anyways, I just finished my cup of coffee, so I want to dive straight into some things on what we'll be doing. This is the video for 4/30/20 for Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Anyway, the first thing I want to do is, of course, open up our syllabus. And this is under the syllabus tab, as always, in the Comp 2 syllabus that I have revised apparently 22 times, but no surprise there. Okay, so this is where we are at in terms of our schedule here. So for today, I will be going over a sort of quick review on quotation sandwiches and the RPP. Just a reminder that the RPP stands for the research positions paper. That's our final paper, that's our last paper. It's all the same thing, just to clear up any confusion there might be about that. But what I'll be doing today is going over what goes in the essay again, how do I cite citations, and what is the best way to put sources in my essay. And then on Tuesday, May 5th, May 5th will be sort of a busy day. Tuesday, May 5th, we'll be doing peer review, and then the RPP is due on Blackboard by midnight. So I will be posting peer review probably by Monday morning or early afternoon. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I will be posting peer review on that Monday. So what I would recommend doing for everybody is getting online maybe early on Monday, getting peer review done. And then once that is done, you can do revisions and hand in your paper on Tuesday, May 5th by midnight on Blackboard. And again, that will be the day that we're doing peer review. And then next Thursday, May 7th, is our last day of class. And on that day, we'll be working on putting portfolios together and working on final reflection letters. So I don't know if everyone remembers, hopefully everyone does, but we did cover letters for Comp 1 portfolios, and Comp 2 has them as well. It's just a final reflection letter that you will be placing within your portfolio document. Probably at the start of the document, I would probably put the cover letter first and then go from there. But as long as your portfolio is arranged in some logical or coherent manner, it should be fine. So if you want to do a Google document, that's fine. If you have already started on a Google site and you want to do a website, that's perfectly fine too. So I will leave that option open, and I will let you all decide. I think you're all more than capable of deciding that for yourselves. But if you want to go the easier route and you don't know how to do a website, I would go ahead and probably just do a Google document. And the order of how you want to arrange things, it can actually be found under syllabus. And then go into online format FAQ. And I talk about the portfolios in this document. I talk about the portfolios in this document on the 5th page. And I also state how your document should be arranged. And this is how your document should be arranged. Or at least it should be logical and coherent, organized in some way. You don't want to have things in random places because that makes it really hard for me to grade. And also for the other person that might be looking at your portfolio as well, that makes it hard to grade if things are out of order. So please just make sure it's in some logical and coherent manner, that it's arranged and organized. Otherwise, it might be super hard to grade. And I will be, again, how the process works is that I am the one that first initially, grades the portfolios. And then typically a second faculty reader will take a look at portfolios too, and sort of like help me make the final call. So it's like a collaborative type of grading that we do. So it's not just one person deciding, it's the second person that's also sort of helping me out. And say I might be stuck on something and I'm just not sure what to do with that portfolio. That second person is also kind of like the tiebreaker, and they help me decide. So I actually really like that grading process. It actually went extremely well the first semester, and I actually really like that. So I probably will do something similar. And normally how that works is that once final grades are in, I have to get final grades in. And then portfolio grades will probably be revealed at the same time, or around the same time final grades are due. So I probably will try to email you all portfolio feedback, grades, after all that stuff is in. And again, final grades are due on May 11th by 3 p.m. So I will do my best to get everything in by then. Okay, so moving on to today. What we're going to be doing today is kind of a quick review, but I do want to remind everyone that under assignment information and under the final research positions paper, again, that is the RPP, that's all the same thing. So then I have the guidelines here. And the guidelines are an excellent way to sort of help with starting the drafting of the paper, because again, it gives you like a sort of manual on how you should be writing the paper. So please be sure to be looking at that, guys. I can't stress that enough at this point. So please be sure to take a look at the guidelines. Tells you how to do invention for the thesis and also for logos, ethos, and pathos. Again, that's all stuff I hope you're familiar with, especially after taking Comp 1 and Comp 2. So please be sure to take a look at that. And it also tells you what you should be including. You should be including in-text citations, a works cited page. It's extremely important at this point, especially for the final paper. And again, the final draft is due on Tuesday, May 5th by midnight on Blackboard. And I will be looking especially for this final paper if you're doing peer review or not. Okay, so please be sure to get that done. And again, I will be probably putting up peer review on next Monday. And then shortly afterwards, I will be putting up the Dropbox for the final paper. Alright. So I think that's it in terms of like reminders, but the rubric and the sample can also be found under this folder. So moving on to today's lesson, which can be found under the Lessons tab as always. Everything is arranged by things that I go through. These are all arranged by how I go through them. and the order of how I've gone through them through the course. So if you need to find something, go back and review something, now is kind of a great time to do that. But here is what I will be doing today is the RPP Part 4, a quick review of MLA. Okay, so here is our PowerPoint. Okay, RPP Part 4, MLA review, quotation sandwiches, and a sort of quick review. Okay, so let's think. Whatever topic you are researching, you need to constantly synthesize the information you find. Remember that as an author, it needs to be clear. Simply stringing together the words and ideas of others isn't enough. You need to show readers how your source materials relate to one another and to your ideas. So when you formulate your own argument, you'll need to be careful to draw from your sources to support what you think, your reasons, or why you think what you think, to weave their ideas with your ideas. And I think this is actually a direct quotation from that book I was talking about a while ago. They Say, I Say. And to be honest, I still really enjoy that textbook because it gives some great advice on how to talk about others' ideas while incorporating your own. And it also talks about like summarizing, paraphrasing, quotations, that kind of thing. So if you ever need sort of a additional reading, They Say, I Say is an excellent textbook that I actually still have a copy of from my days of teaching at Bonaventure, because that was the textbook that we would use for Comp 1. And it's honestly a great book, so if you ever need sort of like a summer reading or something to do, They Say, I Say is a great read. Anyway, you will need to format your paper according to MLA format, 1-inch margins, 12-point font, proper heading, title, on white paper, typed, Times New Roman, black ink, double-spaced with page numbers in the upper right-hand corner, and the last name also in the upper right-hand corner. And here's an example of what the formatting might look like. And also, please be sure to have in-text citations. I can't stress that enough at this point. Okay. So, this is sort of a quick little refresher. If you need more in-depth or sort of a revisitation of quotation sandwiches, I also talk about quotation sandwiches during the mapping essay invention. This is sort of just like a quick mini review that I'm doing here. Excuse me. Okay. So, the quotation sandwich includes an intro or lead-in that should explain who is speaking and set up what the quotation says. The follow-up statement should explain why you consider the quotation to be important and what you take it to say. So that kind of comes back to what I was saying about They Say, I Say. So it's important not to just have a quote sort of by itself floating there in the middle of your paper. You want to make sure you have a follow-up, that you introduce the quote, and then after the quote you explain why it's important. So you have to introduce the quote, like I was saying. This is the moment where you tell the reader who is speaking. You will only have to do this once. And then quote via MLA in-text citations, and respond to the quote by explaining the author's point, showing the reader what the author is saying, elaborating on the main idea. And then you want to tie the source to your own claim and reason. Students do this by elaborating on the explanation and pointing out how the evidence source supports the writer's own argument. So here's an example thesis statement. The latest could hit the U.S. mainland in minutes as a result of these recent actions by the rogue state. The U.S. president should immediately authorize military action against the North Korean regime. So of course the first question you want to think about is, who is my audience? Can they do what I'm asking? And then the general idea, direct threats require immediate boots on the ground. I need to find a source that proves the reason true. I need to find a source that proves there is direct threat to the mainland. So what do I need to prove? What type of source could I find? There are 3 basic moves and 1 special moves for quotation sandwiches. First, you want to introduce the quote. And basically what they do is they introduce the quote, and then they find a source that sort of supports it. So Tobias Smith is a journalist for the New York Times who has covered the conflict since 1998, so that's really what lends them to be an expert on the subject. As the only U.S. journalist allowed in the nation, he is the only one who supports sanctions on Korea and the only one who calls out the current administration. And then you want to include a quote via MLA format. And then you support that with a direct quotation, which you can of course read at your own leisure here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But he writes, Korea is an immediate indirect threat. There are not many choices in the administration that are handling the war on Korea effectively. So they have 1 move, which is introducing the quote, and then a direct quote, and then they explain that quote. It is very clear that Smith's position is that our government is not responding to the missile threat with enough force. It would seem that sanctions are not enough. And then they make a fourth move from there and connect it to their original thesis statement. Smith further cites an admiral who is also concerned with our government's response. Of all the authors, this is the only expert in favor of a boots-on-the-ground war with the Korean adversary. This threat is more immediate and dangerous than any before it. We are on the brink of nuclear war. Okay, so just a sort of quick review on in-text citations and works cited review. Purdue OWL is actually a great resource, so if you need sort of a reminder of how to format in-text citations, you can open that link. You can also go to Blackboard under the Handouts tab and open up the MLA source guide. That's still there. It is that document that Cassie, our research librarian over at GCC, wrote for our class. It is still there. It tells you how to do in-text citations and also a works cited page. Also, if you still have a copy of the Little Seagull Handbook, it has a section on MLA formatting, quotations, citations, and works cited pages. So if you need a review on that, please visit those sources. So what should be in the paper again? You should have an introduction and thesis statement, body paragraphs, a conclusion, a rebuttal, and also a works cited page. And this is the link that opens the Research Positions Paper Guidelines, or the RPP guidelines. So for this weekend, what you should be working on is finishing your draft. And these are sort of some reminders, things that you should be writing down for yourself, or however you keep track of due dates, or what have you. Online peer review will begin on Monday, May 4th, which is next Monday. The final draft of the RPP, or the Research Positions paper, is due on Tuesday, May 5th by midnight on Blackboard. And further details about due dates and our last remaining week of class and schedule can be found on the syllabus on Blackboard under the syllabus tab. Anyway, I think that's all I really have. As always, this PowerPoint or Google Slides presentation, originally provided by Dr. Johnny Stein. Thank you so much again for providing content I want to make sure I give credit to him. All you do is go under the Lessons tab. You scroll down and go under the RPP Part 4, Quick Review of MLA, and that is just what I went through. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. You can, of course, feel free to email me at any time, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great day, and thank you.